Powered by Riverside. Powered by Riverside.
Hey, welcome to another edition of Blue Jay Banner Today. I'm Tim Kruger. This is going to be what we call the morning after edition. We will have morning after editions every weekday when we have, a game during the week. So morning after editions, and this edition is sponsored by our friends at RTI Threads. RTI Threads is the exclusive apparel provider of Blue Jay Banner. Make RTI Threads your go-to site for all your Jays gear, including caps, sweatshirts, tees, quarter zips, and so much more. Remember, they've got jerseys as well. So go and check them out at rtithreads.com and get stocked up with Jays gear for the season. I know y'all need an upgrade to your Jays apparel, so there it is, rtithreads.com, and you're going to win fabulous prizes from them all year long on our postgame show. So make sure you watch our postgame. We will, when we send this out on X, we'll also put a link to the postgame. So if you missed it last night, it was pretty late. I didn't understand, but you can check it out. Austin and I had some heated discussions over things. So, all right. So what we're going to do on this show, on the morning after show, is we're just going to kind of just recap the game real quick. We're going to look at the stat line. And we're also going to kind of take a look at the Big East, because I think it's a good time to always, look back. Okay, how are we doing in comparison to other schools, and so on and so forth. So first thing I just want to talk about last night. I mean, I talked about in the post game, we've got to get more assists. We can't have, and I'm not a huge guy because I think some assists are kind of like manufactured and they're kind of fake assists, so to speak. We've got to find ways to have better assists, to get guys open, to run our stuff, to set stronger screens. I saw some screening I didn't think was very strong last night. I saw some movement in the second half where we just got stagnant. The ball got stuck. Guys were trying to score 15 points on each possession. Just not going to happen. They kind of forgot what we were. So I think that had we got some more movement in the offense, we wouldn't have got beat by 27. We got beat, but we wouldn't have got beat by 27. So we need to get the ball into the post. When Freeman's in there, Freeman's got to want to get the ball in the post. I mean, we just, bottom line, we got a better performance from Freeman. We got a better performance from Nick Graves, because he's kind of our go-to guy right now. We got to have better performance from Dix, and maybe get Dix more open shots. And then off the bench, Ty Davis obviously has got to play way better. And we've got to get some contributions from some of those guys. I mean, we just redshirted a guy in Hudson Greer who's very talented. So, and that's understandable. We have such a logjam of players, but these other guys have got to step up. So it was just a big, and Max said this on Monday at his press conference. This is going to be a big learning experience. I mean, you could kind of tell. He's not going to come on there and say, oh, we got no chance. He kind of could tell the way we'd been playing, what we were up against, going on the road, tough environment against probably a top 10 team. We're not there yet. We're not the unit we will be 2-3 months from now. So a lot of learning, a lot of film study, and I think that'll be very, very good for the team. What I want to do now is I want to take a look at, we went over it briefly last night, but let's look at the box score. Let's just go to the team box score first of all. And, You kind of got the impression that Gonzaga shot a great from three. They were only 9 of 27. You take out Iki's 4, and they'd have been 5 of 22, which you're gonna live with every day of the week, right? We obviously weren't good at 7 out of 25. So I know everybody says we're a really good 3-point shooting team. I can just say in practice, I haven't seen it yet. And now we've seen some games and we haven't seen it yet. So maybe guys just aren't comfortable. I don't know, but that's part of of our game that we've got to have. If we're gonna be a team that we want to be, we've got to start knocking down some shots, and we got to start getting the ball in the hands of guys in the right positions. Obviously, the big stat on the stat sheet was the turnovers. We had 16, they had 7. It's a difference of 9. If you 9 possessions, if you hit threes and all those, that's 27 points. I know that's crazy, but I'm just letting you know. You just can't give a team like Gonzaga that many more possessions. Plus, we got out rebounded as well, which wasn't, the rebounding in my mind wasn't horrible. We only lost the rebounding battle by 8, which isn't terrible to a team that has 2 talented bigs like they do, Iki and Huff. Every publication you read, you hear their names. A little surprised that when we talked to Derek Kellogg on the post game last night, he said something about, well, we were a little surprised that Huff beat us in many ways that he did, and I was a little surprised by that. Like I would not be surprised by that. He's a good player. So at any rate, on to the individual stats. We mentioned Freeman did not have a good game. Only 2 points, 3 rebounds, limited minutes. I get Max saying he's got to watch his minutes. I get that, but when he's in there, he's got to be way more productive than he is if this team's going to be successful. Jackson McAndrew had the 2 early threes and then went over the rest of the night. Kind of quick triggering a couple of those, which are great if they go in, but man, when they don't, that's just burns his possession with 1 pass and then a shot. And that it wasn't on a fast break situation either, the time I'm remembering. So he's got to he was great on the boards though. 6 boards. He was a leading rebounder. So I thought there was an improvement there with him rebounding. Dix had 7 points, 5 rebounds. Nice job. We're looking for that guard to come in and sweep up some rebounds. But again, he was 1 and 9 from the field. Only had the 1 turnover, but again, between he and Graves, they had 3 assists. And our primary ball handler is only having 3 assists. That's probably not going to cut it. Graves, 12 points. I thought he settled in late in the first half, kind of got more comfortable, but then the second half kind of was the same story again. Blake Harper had a good night in the box score, 12 points, 3 rebounds. He again had 3 turnovers. And you're seeing some, like last night, some of it, like he's playing at a higher level now. So you higher level competition. So you're seeing a little bit of lower level skills versus higher level skills. I'm still not 100% on board with him, but he's been the one guy that can get buckets. And I feel we've got to get him in position where he can get that ball in that 3 to 5 foot range more often, because he's pretty deadly right there. And it can score over bigger guys. So, and he's 6'7" himself. So we've got to look to get some offensive plays for him, clear outs or whatever, so he can get into his scoring range. Jason Green came off the bench. Thought Bobby was the unsung hero last night. Had a nice game. 9 points, only 3 boards, but he guarded, I thought, Iki probably the best of the 3 guys we had in there against him. Karim Konan came off the bench, looked good, but again, Iki wasn't in there, so it's a little bit skewed. But he had 5 points. He was aggressive, had some splash plays at the rim. It was good. Isaac Trout, again, only 1 for 3. Didn't play a lot last night. I think the matchups didn't suit us well. Ty Davis is, he just had an awful night. 3 turnovers, some bad turnovers, only 2 points. Didn't really affect the game. 1 assist. Austin Schwartz, kind of the same way. Hit 1 3, had 1 assist. That was about it. And Fedor kind of, took that hard ball, and then we didn't see him much after that. I don't know if that was an injury-related thing or if we were just putting him on the bench for a while. But at any rate, we've got to get more from him too. I mean, you got Fedor, Dix, Graves, Freeman. Those will be the 4 guys I would point out that we've got to get more from if we're going to be a successful basketball team. And then Ty coming off the bench got to play a little better at the point as well. So we wash this one, and we move on to Friday when we take on Maryland Eastern Shore, who lost to Nebraska by 19 last night. They were down 30 in the second half and came back. So good on them for hanging in there. But so it'll be interesting to see. But this will be all about Creighton on Friday night. All about us being more consistent on offense, running the show on offense, and doing some better jobs defensively as well. I think it'll be all about Creighton. And I'm sure the practices, the teams flying back this morning, I'm sure they'll all be about watching the film and saying, okay, here's where things went bad. And that, especially that 21-0 run. What could we have done differently offensively and defensively, frankly? So we thought what we do also is take a little bit on these morning afters is take a little bit of a look and a check on the Big East. We haven't done that. And it's kind of interesting when you look at the schedule, like on CBS Sportsnet, they have it, they just go by the non-conference record. So the team with the best record is at the top alphabetically, and it goes down. And right now, St. John's and Creighton are at the bottom. So it's kind of flipped from what it would be. Butler has been, to me, kind of the surprise so far. Now, they've played nobody. But they've blown 3 teams out, too. They've taken care of business. I know, score margin is baked into the metrics for, choosing teams for the NCAA tournament and so forth, and net, and Ken Palm and so forth. Some of these other metrics they use, but the net, but I do think, the teams that handle business, you kind of got to say, okay, they're maybe the competition wasn't there, but they're taking care of business rather than, eking out 5 and 10 point wins. And Butler's done that. So give them credit. They take a huge step up Saturday. They play at SMU. I watched SMU last night. They played Murray State, and they've got some guys, okay? They're going to be a very good team. They're projected right now to be in the field 68 if you were going to set it up today. So they're right on the edge. But I think what I saw last night, I'm very impressive with SMU. So then UConn had a kind of a slow start. They played New Haven, who they were supposed to beat by 42, and they beat them by like 20 something. And Hurley was very upset with the progress of his team, very upset with the performance. They came back. They beat UMass Lowell 110-47. That's 63-point win. It's pretty impressive. And then beat Columbia by 27. They have a brutal schedule that starts this weekend. They play BYU at a neutral site. I believe it's at Boston. I could be wrong on that. Then they take on Arizona, Illinois, Kansas, Florida, Texas before the Big East season. So we're going to find out about UConn here on a national level where they rank. Seton Hall is undefeated, as is Georgetown. The only other 2 undefeated teams. Seton Hall hasn't played anybody. They played some really poor teams and not blowout results. Georgetown is 2-0, but they did beat Maryland, and they beat Maryland by 10. That is an impressive win for Ed Cooley's team. So congrats there. A team that everybody had really non-conference or preseason was talking up Providence, and they had them. Most people had them 4th in the league. I just didn't see it, man. I've got them on the lower half. So far, I think I'm right. 10-point win over Holy Cross at home. They lost to Virginia Tech, a team that's not expected to be an NCAA team. And then they had a nice win over Penn, a decent-sized win. But So far, pretty underwhelming, and they're going to go to Colorado, always a tough place to play. The rest of their schedule is very weak. Their two toughest non-conference games are Penn State and Wisconsin, so we'll see what happens there. Marquette got blown out by D-Rock's Indiana team, 100-77. Indiana looks really good. Talking about, ex-great coaches. Murray State got their first loss last night to SMU, lost by 11, but again, that was a very good SMU team. Oklahoma State's undefeated. They beat Texas A&M the other night. And then Indiana's looked great. Their fans are loving it. Like they've never seen Indiana team shoot the ball the way this team shoots it. So they're off to a great start. They pounded Marquette. I kind of thought Marquette might be a surprise this year in the Big East, but we'll see. So early on, Villanova's also got a loss. They lost to BYU. Played tough, though. But then they haven't played anybody. They played Queens and Sacred Heart. They, too, don't have much of a non-conference schedule. They play Michigan and Wisconsin. The only tough teams I see on their schedule. DePaul looked pretty impressive to start off the season, but then last night, they got beat pretty handily at home by Buffalo, 66-53. Buffalo's not favored to win the MAC, so I think that would be a kind of a red flag there. And then I think the team most people think has looked the worst, and especially the tradition that this school has is Xavier. They've looked awful. They've barely eked out a 4-point win over Marist, who's like not a bad team in the MAAC, but they're always like third, fourth place. It's a good league, but still winning only by 4 at home. Then they beat Lemoyne by 5, who is a team that just transitioned to D1, and then played a good Santa Clara team out of the WCC. But they got boat race. They were down 19.5, and that's how the final margin ended. So things not looking good for Ricky Pitino. And I'm sure the fans are a little bit up in the air here. They got to go to Iowa Friday, too, so it doesn't get any easier. They have a very weak non-conference, as you would expect Ricky to schedule. They do take on Cincinnati. They're an inner-city rival. Cincinnati's very good, so that'll be another kind of litmus test before they get into conference play. And then we mentioned St. John's and Creighton. St. John's, of course, lost a really high-level game at home to Arkansas the other day. Or, excuse me, Alabama the other day. And I was pretty impressed St. John's hung with them because Alabama was lights out. Alabama's got some guys. They've got some guys. And kind of St. John's, this is like an over-exaggeration when I say this, but they're kind of two-man, Hopkins and Edgy, and they're very good. But they need some more supporting cast around them as well to do a little better. But we'll see. I mean, St. John's plays they're, by the way, so just make guys slide on the radar because there's so many teams in this Players Era tournament down in Vegas. They play the same rotation we do. They just reverse. They take on Iowa State first and then play Baylor. So it'd be kind of interesting. Games the same day, back to back, kind of see how they play. I'll get a chance to watch a lot of St. John's while I'm there, so that'll be interesting as well. But that's where we said St. John's got a brutal schedule as well coming up. So tons of really big, high quality games coming up. Plenty of chances. The Jays didn't get this one. I would say like thinking way down the road NCAA tournament, and that's so far to think about right now, the way this team is going. But they're going to have 1 or 2 out of that Players Era Festival, and then probably both Nebraska and Kansas State. So to feel comfortable about what they did in the non-conference. So that's where we are. We want to thank RTI Threads again for sponsoring today's show. Appreciate everything they did. And again, they've got Creighton jerseys in both men's and women's for the men's and women's teams. So check them out. They got them in all sizes, kid sizes, adult sizes, everything else. And plus non-Creighton gear, hoodies, sweatshirts, you name it. They've got it at RTI Threads. Go to rtithreads.com. Start your Christmas shopping today. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, special show, we'll have John Walker with us from the Omaha World Herald. get John's thoughts of the Creighton season so far and the look ahead. So thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.